It's called It's Not What You Think because there's a line in it where I get offered a job and I think it's a brilliant job, and my agent says, well, it's not what you think, and it wasn't, but it was a whole lot more instead. And also, the sort of parallel meaning of that is the fact that when I started writing it, I thought I'd write about other things than the ones I have done. And the ones I found really interesting are the ones that mean most, but I didn't know that until I started writing about them, which is all the stuff, you know, when I was younger, when I was really grafting, and it wasn't about the successes, it was about the toil, and it was about the mistakes, the really big mistakes, and that's what I ended up writing about, to be honest. Yeah, I wrote every word myself. I got offered a chance to do this before, and somebody paid me a lot of money to do it. In fact, the same company, and I started to do it, but it was really angry. It was just me, like literally vomiting onto the page, and it was all this angst, and there was no rhyme or reason to it, and it was a stream of consciousness, and there was no perspective, and there was no beginning, middle, or end. You know, it was just a big fat middle. It was a mess of a middle. And so I stopped, and I thought, this doesn't mean anything. So I then said, look, you better have your money back. And they said, no, keep the money because you're going to write this one day. And I said, I'm really not. And 3 years later, they phoned up and said, we believe you, can we have our money back? And then 4 years after that, I phoned them and said, should we do this again? And they went, well, come and see us. And that's how it happened. I didn't go out for a night. I went out for years. It was just one big night out, you know. And at the beginning, there were lots of highs, lots of excitement, lots of parties. But then the more I went out, the more I had to do to get to feel the same way, you know, and in the end it became exhausting, and it became a sort of infinite process of meaninglessness. Again, I write in the book about it. I think, you know, there wasn't really a plan as far as I was concerned, but I think there must have been an unconscious plan. And if you think about things for long enough, apparently, you know, they say if you feed it into the unconscious, it will sort it out for you. It'll be working on it while you're asleep, while you're on your holidays. And I think I've fed in a load of these dreams and desires and ambitions. And as long as you put the hours in somewhere along the line, and for me it was, you know, 2/3 at the beginning, then I think things will figure themselves out. You know, you do reap the rewards if you sow the seeds, so you just keep sowing the seeds. I think that's the key. You've got to keep sowing the seeds, keep making deposits in the account of life, and don't make any withdrawals, you know. And what I did, I thought I'd put so much in that I could take some out now, but then I kept withdrawing, and there was nothing left, and then I sort of imploded. So I think the key is just keep posting the letters.
I love stories. I like stories that tempt you with what might happen next. And the beginning, the middle, the end of the story. There's a richness about it, and it's a great, great gift to be a good storyteller. He's a really good storyteller. And that's why I want to savour it and to enjoy each bit as I'm going along.
I think there are very few people in television who can use the word genius, and I think that's used far too often. And I think he's actually very friendly with some of them, and somebody like Danny Baker is a radio genius. Chris he knows what people are thinking. He's great on the zeitgeist. He's a good person, he's a perfectionist, and he is very loyal. I've said that before, but he is incredibly loyal.
He lives by his gut feelings, and there's a quote in the book. He says, never let your head rule your heart. You know, believe in things, and if things are the right thing to do in the right time, then go for that moment. There's a way that he lives his life that I really like. There's a phrase that I would use, which is carpe diem, seize the day. Fill those 24 hours with God-given talents and go for it, make them count. And that's what he does.